Skis. I am the Director of Media for TAPPS. Thank you for joining us today for this esports informational webinar with TAPPS and Vanta, our new esports partners. I'm going to hand it over to Brian Bunselmeyer. He is our Executive Director at TAPPS. In the office with me today is Brian Bunselmeyer, our Executive Director, and Rhonda Smith, our Director of Fine Arts. So I'm going to hand it over to Brian right now.
Thank you, John. Thank you, everybody, joining us today. You know, you can't run until you walk. So for the last couple of 3 years, we've been with Play Versus, and we've been learning to walk through the esports world. Now we've partnered with Vanta. We're proud to partner with Vanta and move ourselves forward. So it'll be the TAPPS Esports Leagues powered by Vanta. We're looking forward to the opportunities it presents to our schools. Obviously, if you go on and look at the games, we have a wider selection. It's up to your school and your administration to determine which games that you want to participate in. We see esports as a great opportunity for not only our schools but also our students, and providing that teamwork and that extracurricular opportunity that many would not have otherwise. So, but we look forward to where it brings us. The Fall League, anytime you change, the Fall League will bring some nuances and some news. So we're glad to have Vanta here on the call here shortly to help us walk through those changes. If you haven't already filled out an intent to participate, we hope that you'll go ahead and fill out that intent to participate and say, hey, I do or plan on participating in the Fall League. And then at the same time, we are also sending out a interest survey on exactly which games you think you may play. So that'll help us get the information to Vanta. It'll help the folks there more accurately define our program and what it's going to look like as we go through the fall season, head into the January in-person tournament, and then ultimately move to the spring tournament and the spring championships. So looking at 2 in-person opportunities this year that we haven't been able to have in the past. So thank you for our partners for wanting to make that happen. So Rhonda, I'm going to kick it to you real quick, and then if our folks are ready to talk, we'll be ready to rock and roll.
I just want to echo John and Brian and just say thank you for joining us today. We know your schedules are busy with school starting and everything like that, but just taking time to be here with us and to learn a little bit more about our partnering with Vanta. We are really excited about that. As Brian said, if you haven't filled out the intent form, please do so. If you're not sure where that link is, do info@tapps.biz and ask us for that. We also sent out the Fall League participation. Thank you to those who've already filled that out. We know who's playing what games and how many teams. So if you just do that for us, we would really appreciate it. We want to just say thank you to the guys from Vanta and ladies from Vanta who are on here today. And I'm going to kick it back to John to see if our technical issues have been fixed and we may be ready to go and to start with all of the guys from Vanta.
Thank you, Rhonda. I don't see our connection just yet. A couple of things that I was going to talk about at the end, I'll just cover right now. We've got a few resources available for you for esports that are TAPPS specific. First thing is our Twitter account. That's @TAPPS Esports. If you've got a school account or anything associated with that, go ahead and give us a follow. We like seeing what you guys are up to. We like being able to retweet things. That's where we're going to put our awards. You can see the awards from the previous championships that we've had. We also cover esports in our podcast. We've had several episodes over the past couple of years. One of them was an a very in-depth look at esports. We talked to members from several of our schools that were just starting their programs during the COVID-19 pandemic, what that enabled them to do during that time, but also the benefits that they've seen for the students in their communities that have been served by that program. So that's available for you. If you want to listen to those episodes, again, we're talking a little bit about our former partner, but there's plenty of good interviews in there with students, with coaches, and with administrators from our schools about how esports has worked on their campus. And you can find those episodes if you go to our website. That's tapps.biz/talk. You can also find TAPPS Talk on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. We've had several. Just scroll and see where it says esports. We've got several episodes about esports. That's all right. Thank you. All right, I'm going to hand it over to you guys.
Yeah, sounds good. So just quick intro. I'm one of the co-founders of Vanta, along with Zach, who you just heard from. For today, we're going to just take you through a quick background about Vanta, and then really what we want to do is focus on the upcoming season, TAPPS Esports League as a whole, and chat a little bit about some of our supplemental coaching and development services that we have in place to help enhance your experience overall with esports. And then there's going to be ample time at the end for Q&A.
All right, looks like we've got the slides up. So,
all right, just go to slide 4.
Yep.
Okay, so a little bit about Vanta. We're coming up on 3 years old now, but we've been in this scholastic esports space for a couple of years now. Really, we see ourselves as a one-stop shop for esports, and we work with partners, similar to TAPPS across the U.S. We're in, I think now, 45 plus states. And really what we want to do is provide the infrastructure for your programs to run esports and have an effective experience. We're able to provide a number of platforms and services to do this. So, we'll get into a little bit more about the platform, but we have a digital esports and gaming platform. This is a esports platform that is COPPA compliant. This is important here because this means that we can service K through 12. We'll be able to run both middle school and high school leagues with TAPPS. We, of course, run competitive esports leagues and tournaments, and when we work with a partner like TAPPS, these are customized, specific to that partner and what they're trying to accomplish with an esports offering. In addition to that, we'll get into some of these other elements later on in the presentation, but we have esports training camps. We have esports coaching that we can provide that will supplement the school sponsor's effort. And we have a suite of professional development products for school coaches and educators. I think I heard Brian talk a little bit about in-person championship. This is something we're really excited to be able to help provide for the TAPPS community, is that in-person LAN championship event. Really awesome experience when we're able to execute those and get the whole community involved. And as part of that, we are able to provide professional production and broadcasting for those events. And the last bullet here, really important, we're a full service team. So we've got, you'll meet Nikki and Sai, both of whom are paramount to running the leagues and providing customer support. That's a big part of our value, is that we want to be there with you every step of the way throughout your esports journey. And flip to the next slide, Nikki. Okay, and just quickly, I just wanted to showcase a little bit about Texas, which is one of our fastest growing communities, which is why we're overjoyed to be partnered with TAPPS. So just last season alone, we played over 10,000 matches. Texas schools who participate on the platform, they tend to come back, meaning they have a good experience. Our coaches are highly rated, and TAPPS Esports League, for you folks, this is completely free to compete. There is no league fee, and this is a model that we've embraced both with TAPPS and other partners. So we've saved schools tons of money over the past year, and really with the intent to make esports as accessible as possible to schools and students. You want to go to the next slide, Nikki? All right, so we take a very school-centric approach. So really, you can see here in the title, like we want schools to win big with Vanta, and really I should say win big with TAPPS Esports. Again, tapping into this free-to-compete model, we've set this league up in a way that it's literally the most affordable way to launch an esports program and compete. So TAPPS League is free, the platform is free. You can manage your teams, access our arena, communicate, leverage all the tools and features and more for no cost. We'll chat a little bit more about this, but we really see ourselves as more than just a platform. So we want to partner with you schools to help grow your esports program for years to come. we've got a number of offerings that we'll cover down on a little bit that are there as optional supplemental offerings to help you just get the most out of esports. So we've got some STEM.org accredited programs that we can offer, and really we just want to work hand in hand with you to help you get your program started. And if you already have a program, scale your program up and continue to grow it. White glove customer support. This is definitely one of our superpowers, I would say. We really take this seriously, and we have a dedicated team of specialists that are literally there with you every step of the way. You'll hear more from Nikki, and in particular Sai, about how we onboard and provide support on match day and these things. But at the end of the day, we're really here to help and ensure you all have a great experience. We want you to feel good about moving forward with esports, and we know it can be new for lots of folks in terms of game titles, platform, lots of new stuff, but we want to give you peace of mind. A big part of that is our platform, which is really how we power the league. So our platform, again, I mentioned, COPPA compliant. Safety, privacy is absolutely paramount for us. So we're all about creating that safe and trusted space for executing our esports offerings with our partners and providing that opportunity for learning and development with our schools. Community engagement and growth is so critical here. I don't know how many of you on the call are net new to esports, thinking about starting a program versus, you've already got programs. One thing we've found is that about 50% of the gamers who have participated in our leagues had not actually participated in an after-school program before. So this very clearly shows that esports and gaming is an incredible way to engage your students in such a positive way. So we're really excited, again, to be partnered with TAPPS and help bring this really awesome experience to the TAPPS schools. And the last point here, a lot of us at Vanta come from traditional sports backgrounds, and so we all had really incredible experiences growing up, being part of teams, having great coaching, having great mentorship, and this is something that we've really tried to infuse into our DNA in terms of how we operate and how we partner. So a big part of that is our coaching and development offerings. Again, we'll get into this a little bit more later, but it's all about providing the best experience possible for schools and gamers. Next slide. Okay, so just quick high level on TAPPS Esports League. I came on late, but I think Brian was covering down on some of this. But starting this season, we'll be launching at both the high school and middle school level. We'll have year-round competition, again, like tapping into that in-person championship with an event in the winter time, leading up into the spring, and then at the end of the spring season to crown a TAPPS champion across the different titles that we're going to be offering. We'll be offering tons of esports titles. We'll find out what those final ones are after some of the surveys finish going out. And again, just want to stress that we are here to help. We've got a dedicated support team that is focused on, helping with this transition to a new esports provider with Vanta, and again, being there year-round for you all as you start, grow, and continue to expand your esports efforts. All right, I'm going to kick it over to you, Nikki, to get into some more of the nitty-gritty about the upcoming fall season.
Awesome. Sounds great. So we'll go ahead and start off. Just a real quick introduction for myself. My name is Nikki Zachary, and I am the Coaching and League Operations Manager here at Vanta. I am a former Texas teacher who built esports programs at two different schools that I formerly worked at. So I have a lot of experience in kind of the situation that a lot of you may be in right now. Um, but for Vanta, I oversee the running of the leagues themselves. And then if you do dip your toes into our coach offerings, I'll be the person who manages the coach that you have with your team and stuff like that. But I will talk on that later. So let's focus on the league for right now. The biggest thing to know about your league is that it starts officially September 11th. The registration deadline is September 8th. And it's going to go through until December 15th. So there will not be like a full in-person championship event at the end of this season, but there will be a event that we're putting together in January, which will be in person. We'll have more information on that later, but the in-person LAN events are like the bread and butter of what we do and what esports is. When you gather that many kids together, it's just like a really incredible experience. And I highly recommend, if you ever have an opportunity to go to a LAN event, regardless of if that's with your school or not, that you definitely do. But getting into the season itself, the games that you guys are going to be offered are presented here. League of Legends, Super Smash Bros., Valorant, Rocket League, Chess, Overwatch 2, Apex Legends, Fortnite, and Tetris. A couple of these games are asynchronous, meaning that you don't necessarily have to play them on the day that they are scheduled for. That means you're not going to be paired up against anyone specifically. It's more of your team will compete for points that will then be submitted. But otherwise, the other games are predominantly head-to-head matchups. We offer both for Smash Bros. We offer both crews, which is a 3-person team, versus solos, which is just a 1-person team. We've had really great experience with those leagues in the past. It's a very popular game. But you can see here, this is going to be your overall schedule for the week. I have the start time somewhere. 1 second. Or I will get that for you in just a second. I forgot to put on this slide, and that is my fault. But we'll just move on to the next one, so I'm not holding on to you guys. All right, so here's just another run through of the games that we're offering. These are most of the top esports titles just across the board, Rocket League and Smash especially. A lot of these other games are very popular, but I would say Rocket League and Smash are where we tend to find our most competitors. But let me go ahead and explain a little bit about how our matchups and scheduling works. So once you are fully onboarded, and Sai will explain how that works here in a few minutes. But once you are fully onboarded, your team will automatically get tossed into the scheduling system. Our scheduling system schedules out the entire season of projected matches. So essentially what that means is that you'll be able to go in and you'll be able to see a full schedule of events for the entire season. But those matches are projected until 72 to 48 hours before that match takes place. It finalizes specifically in our system at 72 hours, but then we do adjustments manually according to if you've requested an off day or something like that because your team can't compete that week, whatever that may be. We do those final adjustments, and then up to 48 hours before it's 100% finalized and in place. So we will have Thanksgiving week as a predetermined bye week. And then our standard procedure is that everyone gets 2 scheduled buys, but for the fall, Thanksgiving week is one of those bye weeks. We will then send out a form at the beginning of the season where you guys can indicate to us any school holidays that you may have so that we can make sure that you are not scheduled on that specific day. If you do exceed that 2 days of scheduled buys, then it may start to reflect negatively in your record. But overall, as long as there's clear communication on everything, it should be totally fine. But that also leads us to our match chat. At that 72-hour mark, the match, when it becomes finalized in the system, it'll create what is the match chat. You can see that here in this bottom screenshot. So what it does is it creates a chat between yourself and your opponent. You as the school administrator or the coach or whomever have access to this chat. And for the first time this season, we have implemented something called team captains, where you'll be able to designate one player of your team to also have the ability to communicate in this chat. We, in general, do not allow players from opposite teams to communicate with each other either in-game or through the chat because of just wanting to make sure that chats remain clean and remain places of good sportsmanship. But we understand that as the esports coach, you may have several teams that are competing on the same day in different games, and that can be a lot to manage. So we've brought on this team captain role so that they can also talk in the chat too. We just ask that you, of course, as the teacher, are keeping an eye on what's being said. We also have the ability on our end to see what's being said, just in case anything needs to be further looked into or whatever. But overall, that chat is going to be your main place of communication between yourself and the opposing team. That being said, you won't receive, as it currently stands, it doesn't have the ability to send you a notification that you've received a message unless you actually are in the chat itself. So if you are needing to reschedule or you're waiting on a response from your opponent or whatever, it's going to be up to you to actually look into, like, to be double checking that chat itself for the time being. We're working on those updates all the time, but for this season, it's going to be heavily reliant on yourself to be able to jump into that chat to double check you're not missing any messages, because that communication is going to be really important for making sure there's no forfeits or anything like that that could have been solved by that communication had beforehand. So just wanted to make sure that was clear. And then, of course, like later on, if you have any specific questions about the schedule or how the match chat works or anything like that, I will be your main point of contact on that, and I'll be happy to help with whatever you need. I did, though, just real fast, I did get an update. The start time for your matches for TAPPS is 4:45 p.m. So that's when your scheduled matches will be. All right, and then after you get through your match and that game is played and you are either the winner or the victor, or those mean the same thing. You're either the winner or the person who did not win. The next thing that you'll need to do is make sure that you stay up on score submissions. Those are extremely important for making sure that all of our rankings are correct throughout the entire season and that we can address any discrepancies through the season as well. This screenshot on the side shows you a little bit of what that'll look like. The only thing that is missing is that next to the submit score button, we have added a big red button that says forfeit. If your team cannot compete in that match for any reason, where you just cannot reschedule it or anything like that, you can click that button and it will record the forfeit for you. I do want to make clear, though, that our forfeit policy is pretty strict, just so we can ensure that teams are getting as much competition as possible. So after one forfeit, you'll receive a check-in email from our team just to check in, see if everything's all right, see if there's anything that we can help you with in making sure, like, maybe that game gets rescheduled or something like that. But then after 2 forfeits, the team, unless communicated previously, will be removed from scheduling altogether. Our scheduling system fully updates itself once or multiple times a day. So if a team gets removed due to that, then all of the projected matches for the rest of the season will update to remove those teams that are removed because of forfeits. But we do heavily recommend that you try and reschedule a match if it cannot be played at the originally scheduled time, just so that forfeits are not the go-to and that everyone's still getting as much competition as they possibly can. We have 2 different types of score submissions that you can see that here on the schedule. We do points-based and record-based. So points-based will be games like Fortnite and Apex and Tetris. Those are also our asynchronous games. So what that means is that those games are played where you're trying to get as many points as possible, and you'll submit the amount of points that you got for that week for that. And then the ranking board shows exactly everyone's total points for that season so far. Then our record-based score submission is, for example, for Rocket League, we do a best of 7. So your record would be 4 games to 3 games, 4 games to 1 game, so on and so forth. It's really important that you make sure that you have that record reported correctly, because that can assist at the end of the season when it gets into playoffs, who qualifies based on not just record, but if necessary, like if records are the same, we'll go to winning percentage and stuff like that. We'll also have a place for you to submit screenshots of scores or any disputes or anything like that. We'll send that information out closer to when the season starts. And then with score adjustments and score disputes, we are able to have a conversation about those kinds of things. You'll just report to our support at vanta.gg. There's a form that you'll fill out, and we will get that taken care of. Screenshots are going to be very important for any score disputes that there may be, and any communication that may have been had will also be very important to make sure that you include when you're reporting these things also. Each of these games comes with different parameters of how they're played, whether they are played on the PC, if they're played on Xbox, PlayStation, the Nintendo Switch. So if you have not seen our tech guide already, I highly recommend scanning this QR code to take a look at it. This will tell you a little bit about the games themselves, how big the teams are, both the minimum size and the maximum size, and any technology requirements that you may need for those games in particular. So the next steps for TAPPS are going to be registering for the fall season and onboarding to our platform. So I am going to go ahead for right now and toss it over to Sai so she can show you a little bit more about our onboarding process and what that looks like. And then when she's done, I'll hop back in and I'll tell you a little bit about coaching and all the coaching opportunities that we offer.
Hi everyone, my name is Sai. I'm the Senior Operations Associate here at Vanta. I also oversee our onboarding team and our customer success team. So let me go ahead and share my screen. There we go. Can someone under panelists confirm that you guys can see my screen? Everything is okay?
Yes, ma'am, we can see you.
Okay, perfect. All right, so here we have the Vanta onboarding guide. Basically gives you a step-to-step guide on what to expect in an onboarding meeting. And since I don't think I can link anything here, I'm going to show you how to get to this page. So if you go to vanta.gg, you scroll all the way down to the bottom and you head over to our knowledge base. This will give you a ton of articles regarding anything that you may have questions for, product offerings, game rules, case-specific information, etc. But if you type in, how do I prepare for my onboarding meeting, this article here will pop up. And so this kind of gives you a brief overview of different questions that our onboarding specialist will be asking you so that you can be prepared for that meeting. And then first step is to schedule a meeting. And in order to do that, you just head over to schedule an onboarding session here, and that'll take you to our Calendly page. And anytime that you are available, go ahead and schedule a session and you'll meet with one of our onboarding specialists. And the next step is to prepare for that meeting. So on the Calendly itself, it's going to ask you 3 questions, which is what is your position in your esports program, what is the name of your school or association, and then if your IT department is available to meet. It's very important if your IT department is able to meet with us, just so that we can kind of explain the tech guide, any kind of whitelisting, port forwarding that we need to do so that they can assist you with that, as well as bringing your school ID or even a pay stub to confirm your identity so that we can approve your account. And then step 3 is what to expect. So we're going to give you a walkthrough of the Vanta platform and kind of give you the day-to-day operations of our leagues. We'll also ask you those series of questions to kind of cater that onboarding meeting to your needs and any specific questions you have. And then also before the meeting ends, we'll help you create your accounts and get you started on inviting your gamers. And to give you kind of a walkthrough of that, so if you head over to taps.vanta.gg/signup, this page will show up. And then as a teacher, you can go ahead and create your account here, hit continue. So since I've already created an account, it would ask for your email and then it'll send you a code to your email to create your account. And this is what your homepage will look like. In addition, I'll also ask for some kind of verification. So your ID, you upload your ID and our system will either automatically approve that, or if you're in an onboarding call, we can manually approve it for you. So to kind of give you a walkthrough, this is what your homepage would look like. This is where your teams would be, and then also your gamers. So there are 2 ways to invite your gamers. You can either invite them if they already have an account, just put in their email here and hit invite, and it'll automatically add them to your gamers here. Or you can give them the school invite code, and when they're back on this page, so if you sign up, create an account, go to gamer, you can go ahead and put their information here and add the invite code, and that'll automatically add them to your gamers. And let me go ahead and log back in. And so once you invite your gamers, they'll be here. Some options also, if you'd like to upload multiple gamers at once, you can always upload a CSV, and all you have to do is go to either Google Sheets or Excel, and on the first column just put in all your gamers' emails in a row, and then just upload that as a CSV, and this will upload all your gamers all at once so you don't have to individually invite them. And then as for creating your team, all let's do is create team for fall here. Let's put Vanta team 1. You can search for your gamers, it'll just pop up here, add all the gamers. And then as Nikki mentioned, we also have the team captains. So you can select that there. And then here you can select 2 dates for practices. So let's go ahead and put noon as an example over Monday, Tuesday. And then here is where you select your league. So let's say, since we only have 1 gamer, we're going to go ahead and just do the TAPPS Middle School Solo League. And there you are. You have your team, you have your practices. And then under events, it'll show every single practice from here to the end of the season. And then when your gamers go and log into their accounts, they'll also see the same events. And on the right side here, it'll say enter arena, and that's where you'll go to enter the arena to do your practices. And then next we have our leagues. So these are all the leagues that we currently offer for TAPPS here. And then you can go and sign up your teams here as well. Camps, we usually offer our camps during the summer, or if TAPPS decides to specifically do a TAPPS camp, they can also do that there. We have our private coaching. So if you guys would like to share this with your players in case they find a certain coach they like, they'd like to have more time with that coach, they can go ahead and schedule that there. And Nikki also mentioned the chat feature. So that's here as well. So once you create a team, it'll create a team specific chat. And then before every match that you have, you'll have that team versus team chat here as well. And there's some other options such as personal development, merch, fundraising. These are all things that Jim will also be mentioning later. And then another thing is when you sign up, you'll also receive an email here, and it'll also provide all the information that I've gone over today so that in case you forget anything, this will be in the email. Okay. And that's really all for me. So let me go ahead and pass it back on to Nikki and Jim to conclude the presentation.
Right, let me share this window again. All right, so one of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about is that we are more than just a platform and a league. Our holistic approach and suite of offerings gives you everything you need to build a thriving esports community. As a teacher who once started a few esports programs, I know that not everyone is at the same skill level or same understanding of esports or video games in general. Sometimes you may just be that teacher that the kids came up to and said, we want to start esports. Do you mind being the person who runs it for us? And with that in mind, we offer a lot of things to try and help you guys out, as we know that not everybody will know exactly what to do, but we're there to help. We offer expert esports coaching for teams. We have a large selection of coaches that are all on average rated a 9.7 out of 10, meaning that they focus on a holistic approach to players. It's not just teaching them skills in a game. They're also teaching them things like you should be stretching before your esports match. You should be making sure that you're remaining hydrated throughout practice. You should make sure that how you respond to maybe dying in game needs a little bit of help in what is the proper way to do that. Those are the kinds of things that our coaches help with. They can absolutely make your players better in Valorant, but at the end of the day, they're focusing on trying to make your players better athletes in general and better people in general. We offer training camps for those same things. Those camps tend to be week-long camps that focus on one game or two games, depending on however you want to set it up. And then if you're not interested in getting any coaching where you bring in an outside coach, we also offer professional development for coaches and educators so that you can sit down and try and learn a little bit more about these games and how you could potentially help your team out for the entire season. That coach is a pretty integral part of this process, whether that is you or you bring in one of our Vanta coaches. Esports may not be traditional sports in the more traditional sense of a full-on physical activity, but it still requires someone who can mentor players, who can help provide advice where it's needed. You would go out and find a football coach for your football team if you need it. That's a similar thing for esports, whether that's yourself or someone that you bring in. So our Vanta Esports Coaching Academy is where this training happens. We're committed to providing high quality coaching expertise and curriculums to growing esports to the growing esports community. Our coaches are highly trained. They cannot become a coach until they have been trained, and they go through further training as they continue along, no different than any other coach or teacher. Your education doesn't stop the moment you get your certification. You continue to grow and get build up on your skills as you go along. The Vanta Coaching Academy team provides training tools and established developmental standards to help coaches reach their true potential. We believe that better coaches drive better outcomes in team development, and we put the resources into our coaches to help confirm this belief. We gather top-rated coaches at esports experts from all over North America and onboard them through a comprehensive training program established by professionals with 50-plus combined years of experience developing professional athletes, soldiers, and educating children. So we do background checks, extensive vetting, training them not just in coaching and how to run a practice, but we train them in leadership and social emotional development. They may be experts in their respective games, but we understand that that's not enough for a true coach to inhibit. So we have our team coaches. Like I mentioned before, you don't have to be a gaming expert to develop your gamers. These supplemental coaching services are there so you can leverage trained, vetted game experts to enhance the development of your gamers. A lot of these slides are mostly just kind of going to be repeating what I just talked about on those last two slides. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing that we're focusing on is that we're focusing on developing critical in-game skills and mechanics, as well as hard and soft skill development. Because it's not just the game skills that matter, it's those hard and soft skills as well. Those same things are touched upon in our training camps. We can customize our camps according to age, game titles, how long you want to do them. They're all hosted through our platform, which, as we talked about before, is fully COPA compliant. It's all fully flexible. Your players can either be all together in person at school, or they can be at home because they have that access to our digital platform to be able to do it. And we keep our group sizes according to how many players are allowed on a team, like during the season, so that it's a smaller group and more individualized instruction can be given. And then, of course, there's the professional development that we also offer. Since we know that maybe coaching is not an option for everyone, but building your own skills is. So we wanted to provide just a little bit of information about professional development. They're asynchronous digital courses, such as things like Intro to Esports, starting an esports program, basic things like that can just help you with getting your programs off the ground. But then more specialized information like Rocket League Coaching Guide, which is more or less a full curriculum of coaching Rocket League for one season, which is very similar to some of the coaching that we offer, just without the full-on hands-on experience from a highly trained coach in the room. We also can provide training where a Vanta coach trains your teachers as well. So if you are interested in any of that, here's a QR code so that you can meet with an account rep. I'll toss it over to Jim so he can talk on that a little bit, and then also just kind of wrap us up in our full presentation.
Thanks, Nikki. So we did have one more slide, but it was a video. So I think we'll just follow up and have Rhonda share that with you all. Basically, it was just a highlight reel of one of our in-person championship events, just to get you jazzed up about the season, and see what those types of events are all about. So I think at this point we can open it up to Q&A, unless Rhonda or Brian, if you're still on the line, is there anything else you wanted me to cover down on that we might have missed?
I think you've pretty much covered everything that they're going to need to get started to be successful in their season. I don't know if any questions have come in. John, have any questions come in?
No, ma'am, we don't have any questions in there, but
So-
I think everybody knows where if they have specific questions for Vanta, they know who to talk to.
Yeah, definitely. Just want to encourage before I turn it back to you guys. Just make sure that if you're ready, get on board. Get your Vanta rep going and get your seasons set up. Also, if you do a favor for us, go and do your esports fall league participation form, just so we know what teams you're wanting to play, so we can get this set up, because Vanta's going to want to know that too. Also know that we're sending this out to all of you guys, but it will be posted on our website. If you didn't know, if you go to www.tapps.biz, Fine Arts and Esports, we have our own page and everything will be posted there, so you could get all of the updated information that you need. So I just wanted to reiterate that. And James, do you have anything else?
I do have a couple of questions that just came in.
Okay, awesome.
First question, what consoles do we use?
All of that is,
Nikki?
yeah, I can. All of that is specifically in that tech guide that I mentioned earlier, but we, all of our games are either on the Nintendo Switch, PC, PS4, PS5, or Xbox Series X, Series X, X and S. They both sound very similar. Each game is different though, so it's really important that you look at the tech guide so that you know for whatever games that you're interested in what those parameters are. Because for example, you're not going to be able to play Valorant on a Nintendo Switch, but you will be able to play Smash Bros on a Nintendo Switch, but you won't be able to play Smash Bros on a PC. So some games just have that that blocker to them just based on the companies that they come from. So it's really important that you take a look at that tech guide so that you have a full account of everything that you need for each game that you're interested in.
And just to add to that, Nikki, I know, I'm sure some of these game titles are new, and you might not even be familiar with all the different range of consoles and which games are cross-platform versus not. So, I would just highly encourage you to, hit Nikki or Sai up directly. We can share our emails, or, you can just simply book a call with a rep over here at Vanta, and we can just talk through some of those details and, what to expect, the nuances of some of the games. But definitely a good starting point, as Nikki said, it will be the tech guide.
Fantastic, thank you. I've got another question here that's a two-parter. Is there a plan to add any other games such as Madden? That's the first part.
Yeah, Ron, I believe in the survey that you sent out, there's an option for them to potentially add other titles that they might be interested in. Is that true, or did I make that up?
I didn't put that on there, but I can always, add to a survey, or they could send in an interest. You guys had mentioned that there might be games that we could add. So if that is one that maybe some of the teams are interested in, if they know it's available, we could put it out there and let them know that they can tell us they'd like to play it.
Yeah. I think that would be helpful. I think the intent from Vanta and TAPPS is to support the titles that you all want to compete in. So Madden's definitely a game that we're able to support. So maybe we can just add an open question and start to get a sense of if there's demand in some of these other game titles.
Okay. Also, to know that if we get 8 teams in a title or in a game, we will make that where they would go to a championship match. They would be in for the championships. So if we get eight teams, however many in that game, that'll help.
Yep. Good point, Rhonda.
Okay. Second part to that question. I have students that want to play Valorant and Rocket League. Are these games starting at the same time on Tuesday?
They are, yes. 4:45 is the start time for both games. We usually have Valorant and Rocket League together because there's not as much overlap. But obviously, this is an example of there being overlap with those players. So I would, unfortunately, like that's going to be the best day for those two games. So I would probably just have a conversation with your players about which one is the ones that they really want to play. The other thing that they can do is that they can be a sub on whichever game that they're not going to stick with, so that if later on in the season there comes a chance where they can play, then they can do that. But otherwise, that is when those, just in general, if you have players that want to play two games that play at the same time, it's just kind of a matter of they just kind of have to decide which one they want to play more.
Yeah, with so many titles, we are going to have some overlap. So we'd rather have more titles. So that's a good thing. The last question I had was about cross-platform, but you already addressed that with the tech guide. I don't see any other questions waiting to be answered. Is there anything else we need to add from the office?
No, I think we're good. Just thank you all for being here. And if you do have questions, you can email the office, info@tapps.biz, or call the office 254-947-9268, and we'll get you answers. And as far as that, I'll turn it back to John.
Okay, was there anything else that you guys needed to add, James or Nikki?
All good on my end.
All good on mine too.
All right. Thank you guys for being here. I think this was very informative. Once again, folks, this recording will be made available later today. It's going to be on our YouTube page. You're going to get an email with a link to that recording if you registered for this webinar so that you can share that with anybody on your campus who needs to see it. Also, it's going to be posted on the TAPPS website. With that, folks, thank you. We look forward to seeing you at the championships, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone. Cheers.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you.